My wife cheated on me and divorced me. But I made her life a living hell in return. My ex-wife subjected me to mental and financial abuse throughout our marriage. Yet I managed to thwart her divorce plans by exploiting a series of mistakes made by her lawyer. Now, not only have I secured my assets, but I also bought her grandmother's house. Most of the money I earned she would take from my account, which would lead me to be short on funds for bills and such. If I got mad about it, would turn into an argument about how it was my fault for not making enough money. I could never do anything right by her. Anything I would try to do to please her would annoy her and just piss her off. I would often try to make a date for us or do something as a family, but she would not be into it. She would complain and get mad because she would rather have just been in bed and allowed to sleep. It got to a point that I did not even try. I ended up not including her in family activities. This would also piss her off, and she would say that I was depriving our children from time with her. After a while she stopped coming home at night. At first she would say she was sleeping at someone else's house who I barely knew. Then my questioning became an annoyance to her. She would tell me it was none of my business what she did. Then, even bothering to question her became a bother for me if she did not come home at night. I did not even think about it. To be truthful, I was glad for the night she was gone when she filed for divorce. I was extremely scared for my living situation, but I also felt a deep sense of relief. I did not even fight it, but I did read everything her lawyer sent me. He screwed up plenty of times. All of his mistakes is what actually delayed our divorce hearing by months. Every time I found a mistake, I would send back the paperwork and sign, to which his staff would rewrite it, but with sometimes the same, sometimes different errors, always to be caught by me. Some of the major errors: my name was spelled wrong. Her name was spelled wrong. My date of birth was wrong. Her date of birth was wrong. Her child's name was spelled wrong. Her child's date of birth was wrong. Inclusion of other people's children. Wrong marriage date. Our home address was incorrect. Inclusion of homes neither of us owned. Inclusion of pets. Inclusion of businesses. Neither of us owned a settlement of 50. 0 to relinquish ownership of businesses. Different draft. Her lawyer's name was spelled wrong. This one had me laughing on the toilet. In total, there was about 7 drafts before most of the errors were corrected, and even the final draft submitted to court contained major errors. He tried to argue before the judge that I should be responsible for the court fees and legal fees, but I successfully argued that most of the delays were on his part due to all the egregious errors after our divorce. My ex is shacked up with the man she left me for, and he's an abusive boyfriend. Since I closed all the past passwords to my banks, she has no access to my accounts and swiftly realized how much she was depending on my income to supplement her own. Also, she screwed over her uncle who was renting us his house, and it almost went into foreclosure. He approached me about his situation and said if I wanted to stay in the house, I had to pay all the payments she did not pay. It was about 6 months of unpaid mortgage payments and totaled around 11.0. I did not have that much and proposed that I buy his house instead. I was surprised that he agreed. I now own my ex's grandmother's house. Now it has been a year since my divorce. I got a promotion, which came with a significant raise. I still live in my house and upgrading my income when possible. I do not have a girlfriend, but thanks to online dating, I am banging a new girl every few weeks to a month update. Am I the hole for taking my daughter to Disney World? I am a divorced dad with a 6-year-old daughter. Over the summer I took her to Disney World during my time with her. My ex-wife is furious with me about it and claims that I always do these things with my daughter. She claims that it is unfair that I am doing all these first events with our daughter and stealing them from her. She is saying that it is something we should have done as a family, since we will always be a unit. But she expected me to pay for her ticket in her own hotel room. I was never going to do that. I saved up some money and just went with me and my daughter for 2 days. When a estranged wife and her boyfriend first started hooking up, they took our daughter to Universal and a basketball game in Orlando. I was not invited to any of these events. But lately, the estranged wife does not do anything with our daughter when she does have her. They stay at home all day and watch TV. That is why I take the initiative and plan things with my daughter. I usually have my daughter 5 days of the week during school, and in the summer it is for days. I have taken my daughter on a couple of trips to DC and Hawaii. So am I the a-hole for taking my daughter to Disney and not taking my estranged wife? Let's see some opinions from people. Disastrous B979 says, not the a-hole. You're not together anymore. She shouldn't expect you to pay her away. I would be extremely grateful if I was her that you were able to take your daughter on these wonderful experiences. She sounds jealous. Keep doing what you're doing. Smile and Eyes says not the a-hole. When my divorce was final January 1st, we still had plane tickets to Florida in February to see my parents. The ink was not dry and she asked about the details of the Florida plan. I said me and the kids are going. You can get a credit for your ticket. She flipped out. It was a family vacation. She didn't come and it was for the best. A few months later I heard that no one in my family liked her. They thought she was a snob. One more opinion from Colorado, grown 885 OP. You know you are not the a-hole. Good on you for planning and taking your daughter on these memorable trips. If your estranged wife wanted to plan a joint event and can pay her own way and half of your daughter's expenses, that's another thing entirely. Otherwise, just go on being a good dad. Another updated post. My car again. My ex-wife has ruined my credit. A year before we divorced, I bought her a brand new hybrid Highlander. She has always had money issues, even before we got together. But now that I am no longer financially supporting her, inability to control her spending is taking its toll. She is 2 months behind on her car payments and I am not going to rescue her this time. I have already paid for the maintenance on the vehicle several times. I even bought new tires because she needed them, and as our kid with her. Sometimes I cannot let my kid be in danger just because her mom is a mooch. The loan is in my name and the missed payments really hurt my credit. The registration is also in my name. So last week she went on a trip with boyfriend and I took it back. I wanted several dealerships and I sold it. I barely made enough to cover the loan from the sale because the vehicle was in such rough shape. Update. I had let her use the car since. She is unable to get a car on her own due to her sub-5 credit score and really bad history. It was a way of getting out of paying any kind of alimony or spousal support. She still has partial custody of our kid. Our kid still has to get to school and around town. Somehow she had a really C-rated horse lawyer. I ran circles around him representing myself. I am not saying I am a legal genius. He was just very bad. Plus, I was advised by my family, who are legal geniuses. We were renting an apartment at the time, so other than my cars, we had no major assets to divide. Update. Strange wife and their boyfriend came home yesterday to find their parking space empty. She called me to tell me that she thinks the car might have been stolen and I told her that I sold the car. I said that she was 2 months behind on her payments and it's serious lie hurt my credit score. She told me that it is unfair for me to do so because she was sick with COVID and was not getting paid. I called her on her lie because she is a county job and the county allows for paid administrative leave if you catch go. She asked me if I was going to help her get a new car. I said no. She and her boyfriend have enough money to go to Costa Rica for 2 weeks but cannot pay for a car for 2 months. She started to cry and hung up. A little while later I get a call from her phone. But it was her boyfriend. This time he calls me a coward and other insults. I laugh at him and tell him that I am not scared of a guy whose waistline is equal to his height. He starts to threaten me at this point. So I hang up. They called back and I let it go to voicemail. In my voicemails they recorded themselves insulting me and threatening me with bodily harm and death. I contacted my uncle lawyer and played the recordings for him. He told me to contact the police and press charges. I did that last night. He also told me to get a TR so that they will keep their distance from me and my daughter. I filed my petition with the courts this morning. A strange wife texted to tell me that she is really sorry about what happened yesterday and that they were just upset. She asked if she could pick up our daughter because she has not seen her in almost a month. I told her yes, but only if you use the Highlander update for original post. A strange wife wants to move back in together. So I broke her heart. November 3rd will be my 1-year anniversary from my divorce. Since then, I've gone to therapy to better myself. While in therapy, it was suggested that I focus on my personal development. I did just that. I lost over 50 PBS. With a change in diet and exercise, I got back into playing soccer regularly and I coached my kids' youth soccer team. I also started reading again. I try to read a book a week. My work life has improved immensely. I got a significant raise and promotion. I can easily take care of myself and my kid on my own. I usually have 5 days a week. Now after all of this, my estranged wife wants back into our lives. I call her estranged wife because she completely disgusts me, and it is a play on words. And your boyfriend, who rescued her from a horrible marriage, beats her. This latest incident was so bad that he sent her to the hospital. Our kid was with her at the time and was the one who called the ambulance. But my estranged wife does not want to press charges and is denying it happened. The bruising tells a whole other story. I went to a family party last night. I get along with this particular family very well and they called to invite me. I was cordial with my estranged wife, but I did not talk to. Her family got into her delusional head that we still love each other. This could not be further from the truth. My estranged wife may have liked how our marriage was, but I did not. I gray, rocked and barely functioned as more than a second form of income to her. She also dared me the last 2 years of our marriage. I was emotionally and financially abused by this woman. The last year of our marriage, she was cheating on me with her boyfriend. When I confronted about it, she denied it and ran into his house. When I caught her outright, she said it was my fault because I was not supporting her enough. I was giving her all of my paycheck after I paid all of the bills. I did not buy any clothes or shoes for myself for years. Today she finally showed up to a soccer game. After the game, she asked me if I'm ready to move in together. I looked at her confused and asked, why would I do that? She goes on to this whole spiel about how we still love each other. We have a kid together, and it would be better to raise him together. I told her that I do not love her in any way, nor do I trust her at all. I remind her that she still owes me over 1,100 for getting her car fixed. She said she would pay me back if we moved in together. I laughed a good belly laugh. I've been over from laughing so hard. She started to cry, which made me laugh even more. I may be the a-hole for laughing at her, but after what I went through and all the work I have done to improve myself, returning to the source of all my torment would be effing hell for me. My kid still loves her and I will never do anything to turn him against his mother. She can and more than likely do that all on her own. Let's see some opinions from people. PYR says if she is still with her abusive boyfriend, you need to keep your kids away. I would consider going for full custody and supervised visitation when she gets mental health treatment for battered women. Then consider 50-50. Update: found someone great. I know it is a struggle and I know it will take time for everyone to heal during this period in their lives. But I truly hope everyone finds happiness in their lives, with whatever outcome they choose for their relationship. For myself, I have been through a whirlwind year. My divorce anniversary was November 3rd. Since then I have been to therapy, worked on myself and dated a few wonderful women, and some not so great ones. On Monday my estranged wife found a Facebook post from my girlfriend share about a trip that I took over the weekend. It was a great trip. We ate some really good food, got really drunk and had an amazing time during which we took a lot of photos. I usually do not take photos during these dates, but I really like Cher. When she asked if she could post photos of our trip, I gave my consent. I even told her to tag me in them. I knew this would cause some trouble, but the amount of trouble I got from my estranged wife and others entirely. Her family was quite frankly shocking. A little backstory for context here rest. Estranged wife cheated on me for over a year prior to our divorce. Estranged wife was even cheating on me prior to us separating. Estranged wife officially moved into our boyfriend's house before our divorce was even finalized. We had been died for a year at this point. Estranged wife was emotionally and financially abusive to me during our entire relationship. She is still abusive to me to this day, but the level of vital and disrespect she has for me sunk to a whole new low. On Monday, estranged wife made it seem like I was the one who cheated on her. Estranged wife was talking about how it is so embarrassing that I would do something like this to her. How indecent it is that I could post things on social media for everyone to see how I humiliated her by posing in pictures with other women. Estranged wife called me selfish and callous for not taking into account her feelings. I am a coward for hiding the fact that I am seeing other people. Estranged wife even said that I ruin any chance of us reconciling our marriage. But the love that she has been holding on to for me has been killed by my file-entering behavior. Mind you, this entire time she's on the phone yelling at me. I'm laughing hysterically at her. I let her go for 30 minutes ranting about how I killed our relationship and betrayed her love for me. A strange wife asked me how many women I slept with during our marriage. I told her none. I was faithful and loyal to her till the very end. She then asked how many women I have been with since our marriage ended. I laughed even harder and tell her it is none of her business who I have been with since we are no longer together. I remind her that what I do is none of her business, just like it is none of mine what she does. She sent me pages of nasty and disgusting text messages insulting me and Cher. Estranged wife threatened to DM Cher and tell her about me and how bad it was to be married to me. I told her to go ahead. She said that she wants to meet Cher face to face to see what kind of woman she is. Estranged wife said she cannot be that good of a person if she is willing to break up a happy marriage. At that point I asked her what the F is she talking about. We are no longer together and have not been for well over a year. I remind her that she cheated, left and divorced me to be with her boyfriend. Estranged wife then started to cry. Estranged wife went on to blubber out that she was hoping that we could work things out and that it is not fair that I found someone to do things with. I should be doing things with her. And our kid is a family. Estranged wife tells me that she's not happy with her relationship with her boyfriend. Estranged wife finally admitted that he treats her like crap. I have known these things all along. I take no joy in hearing about things from estranged wife. But I really do not care for her. I do not want to reconcile with her truthfully. I do not want to have any interactions with her ever again. But I am actually happy with my life right now. Cher brings me joy and makes me excited to see her again. She is the last person I text at night and the first person I text in the morning. We have plans to go on another trip soon. I know posting pics will cause another round of hate from arranged wife and it will be worth it. 2 years update. Today is the 2-year anniversary of me finding out my girl was using me to cheat on her boyfriend. We were only married for 10 years at the time. No, they were not in an open relationship. Yes, neither were we. Yes, he knew she was married. My marriage was already long since dead. No, it did not end their relationship. But it did ruin his marriage. My then wife 37 and I 39 went to a party at her co-worker's house. Upon our arrival, estranged wife's co-worker's husband, Cole, came over to us and said, "Hey, Edward, it is so great to finally meet you." I corrected him and introduced myself. He said, "Oh, I thought you were estranged wife's boyfriend." To which I calmly replied, "Oh no, I am just her husband." Estranged wife immediately tried to interject that Ed was only a friend. I looked at her and said, "A very beneficial friend." Estranged wife called me in a hole and ran away to cry in a bedroom for the rest of the night. I felt like a 3-pound weight was lifted off my shoulders, figuratively and literally. This immediately made our little circle go silent. It got really awkward after that. To break the tension, I asked Carl to show me to the bar. I had a blast at the party. We were pretty much separated for about 4 months at this point, and at that time she rarely ever came home. She had to be sleeping someplace. Only an idiot would have thought she was staying loyal. Going to this party was a Hail Mary to reconcile with me. But that pretty much sailed off and was well beyond the horizon. I was completely done with estranged wife and all of her BS. Let's see some opinions from people. Life Yogurt Closet 98 starts us off. Today is the 2-year anniversary of me finding out my girl was using me to cheat on her boyfriend. We were only married for 10 years at the time. No, they were not in a relationship. Yes, neither were we. Yes, he knew she was married. My marriage was already long since dead. I was so confused until Carl showed up. In the story, Unit 10 says, Carl is the real hero here. B and Salem Crush says, for those who are as dumb as me, Opie was married to a estranged wife for 10 years. They separated and the estranged wife moved to parts unknown for months later. Estranged wife invites Opie to co-worker Carl's house party in an attempt to reconcile. Opie meets Carl, who assumes Opie is estranged wife's new boyfriend, Edward. Opie tells Carl that no, he's just her husband. Arranged wife tells Carl that Edward is just a friend. Opie clarifies that Edward is her EFF buddy. Estranged wife makes a drama and swarms off to the bathroom. Opie gets to meet Carl's wife. Zonino says, I'm glad you got out of that dragon bane. One says, yeah, and you should probably thank Carl. I feel certain he knew you were not Edward. even if he truly did not thank him anyway. The OP replies, Carl is a great guy and we still hang out. He truly didn't know who I was. It was an honest mistake on his part. He still hasn't met it. He neither have. I would genuinely thank him. My estranged wife and Carl's wife aren't really friends anymore. That has more to do with estranged wife's self-sabotaging nature at her work than my friendship with Coral. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode of the story, please give it a like. And don't forget to subscribe to get notifications for updates.